let's start with what we're hoping is an easy one. So this is not tempting at all. She's dead, Jim. Let's take a quick look back here. Alright, she's plugged into LB21. Alright, so let's see. And she trips. No, I'm not so sure that's not just our problem. Let's do a visual here. See if we can see anything that looks aesthetically burnt looking in at those. No. Solenoids. Defrost. It's tripping immediately when it turns on. So, the only thing that turned on immediately, the defrost clock gets energized immediately. And the evaporator fans. But, again, look at that. What is this? This looks like a prime suspect. I am not a fan of just replacing plug heads. That being said, I replaced the plug head. I think you should just replace the whip every time. I think where you put this connection just creates one more opportunity for failure. From them, they're going to yank it by the cord. They're going to rip the head off. At least if you buy a whole whip and put it on. But that being said, why did I do the head on this time? Because I just have this one head in my truck and I've been wanting to use it. I do have the breaker reset, so let's see. Oh, sorry. And it seems like it still trips the breaker. So, now we're going to go component by component, see what's our problem. I have a hunch. Do you? Any ideas? Let's see if you're right. Can I talk through something with you? I haven't gotten my brain to the final answer yet, but here's what I know. I learned this about these units. I knew by looking at this that, and I put a new clock on, that the center wire coming in is your 120 volt hot in, this is your neutral. This is your cooling circuit, right? And this is your heating circuit. But this is just a control circuit. Just a control circuit. And so what's wackadoo here is that I isolated my cooling circuit there. Then I have a fan, I have a compressor, I've got a fan. I haven't been inside, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to have fans inside. We're running. The only thing I've taken out of the mix is the thermostat. The thermostat is supposed to open and close a solenoid. Now there's two solenoids. One's for the cabinet and one's for the top rail. So if, in theory, my top rail, I know my main thermostat's off. If my top rail is on, then I have one solenoid running and one not, which would, I'm reaching in my pocket right now for my little doodad here. Let's see. All right. So, see if we've got, well, this says we've got no solenoid. And this says we've got no solenoid. Now we shouldn't have a solenoid on our control circuit because I've interrupted it. So why are we running? Help me out here, hang on. Reach for the switch, it's on the other side. Turn that switch to off. Yeah, and we lost our compressor. So, alright, so I've interrupted the thermostat circuit. Got side note, that's also the circuit that runs the fans inside. So now I gotta open up the inside. Alright, so here's the breakdown. Pink comes up. They use the thermostat like wire nut to power the hot to the fans, which look okay. I don't see any obvious issue. I'm sorry, any obvious issue there. I wondered if those were touching because they're real close. And then it sends orange back down to open the solenoid. So, but this definitely looks all janky and bent. I wonder if we got a thermostat drama. What I should be able to do is disconnect the orange wire on the solenoid, reconnect the pink wire, and fire it up. And if it trips, well, wow. So many options here. Alright, well fortunately I got lots of other things to do while I'm here, because here's the thing, I changed the clock, because I didn't like that at all. So, new end, new defrost clock. That thermostat, I straightened out those blades. I disconnected the inside fans. I turned on the unit, everything started. So I'm like, okay, bad fans. And I reconnected the fans one at a time. And they're both running, no problem. Let me show you what I mean by it. So those terminals, I don't see any arcing on it, but they were touching each other, which in theory should have just jumped out. I think you have an issue in the fan wiring somewhere. I'm still looking at it, right? I hate intermittent shorts. That's just a vibration on the panel. It wants its air and I'm choking it out. So the clock was not the primary problem. Oh. Something there. There you go. There you go. It was in the fans. Look. It was in the fans. Intermittently, because we had a wire that was probably in there against that screw. We need to rerun these wires. Wrap them up. There's your drama. All your little drama right there. Yeah, look at the inside of the mold. Dark. That's a self-tapping screw. It's not supposed to have that wire arced into it. Well, it might take us a while, but we get there eventually. It had to be in this system. Alright, I want to make sense of something. I'm going to get out of the loud though. Because I was saying a lot of kind of confusing things earlier that didn't make a lot of sense. Because there was an intermittent thing going on, so let's recap. When I severed this pink wire, generally speaking, the unit would run. That's because that pink wire is the cooling control circuit that runs to the thermostat and then branches off to power the internal fans. Since there was a break in that wire, unhooking that let it work. Now the reason, then I was confused because the system came on. And the reason the system came on is because there's a cold rail. So that made me think, well wait, why is the system running? It wasn't. Once I turned the thermostat on, this started putting out some real heat because now we're not cooling the rail, we're cooling the cabinet, and she's rocking. So I cut out that piece of wire in the middle, I electrical taped everything around the screw, and then I zip tied it away from the screw. So let's button this one up and we'll circle back around right before we leave. We got to go look at a dead cake freezer. All right. Oh, yeah, 15 degrees. Got us a freezer again.